civilian clothes. However, her hair was a mess, her blonde locks tangled on her shoulders. So maybe she'd been in a scuffle with these guys after all. Kendall wasn't the messy hair type. Nope, all priss and polish for her, and never a hair out of place. People didn't call her the Ice Princess for nothing. However, that wasn't an Ice Princess look she was giving him now. "What do you want?" Aiden asked the men. "Your gun on the floor." Again, it was the one on the right who answered. No unusual accent. He was a Texan, and the nondescript dark pants and t-shirt didn't give Aiden any clues either. "Do it now," the man added, and he jammed his gun against Kendall's head. "Or else she'll pay the price." The last thing any lawman wanted to do was surrender his weapon, but Aiden was wearing his usual backup gun in a boot holster. Maybe he'd be able to get to it in time, if things turned uglier than they already were. Of course, things were already plenty ugly enough. Aiden didn't make any fast moves. He eased his gun onto the floor. "Now, what's this about?" he demanded. Thankfully, he still sounded like a sheriff, even though it was hard to sound badass and in charge, with guns pointed at Kendall. "You're gonna do us a favor," the gunman said. Even though the ski mask covered most of the gunman's face, Aiden could have sworn the guy was smirking. "And if you don't, then we'll hurt Kendall here. Won't kill her at first, but we'll use her to make sure you cooperate." The threat was real enough. The real guns were proof of that. But Aiden had to shake his head. "You do know that Kendall O'Neal and I aren't exactly on speaking terms, right? Everybody in town knows it, so why use her to get me to do anything for you?" But his question ground to a halt, and Aiden's gaze snapped back to her. "This is some kind of sick game, isn't it?" Though he couldn't imagine why Kendall would be playing it with these two armed thugs. "Is this connected to your sister?" Aiden didn't wait for an answer. His attention went back to her captors. If they were indeed linked to her sister, and not paid help trying to trick him into doing something crazier than what they were already doing. "Just in case you don't know," Aiden told the men, "Kendall's half-sister, Jewel, is about to stand trial for murdering my father 23 years ago. If this was a real hostage situation, you'd have taken someone that I actually care a rat's you-know-what about." Kendall flinched at his stinging remark, but she quickly recovered. The fear, or fake fear, was still in her green cat eyes, and she hiked up her chin in that way that always riled him to the core. She looked darn haughty when she did that. "There are things you don't know." Her voice cracked on the last word, a nice theatrical touch. "Clearly," Aiden said with a boatload of sarcasm. "But let me guess. You're 1,000 steps past the desperate stage, and you'd do anything to save your precious, murdering sister. So you want me to try to fix the trial or something?" Aiden rammed his thumb against his chest and had to finish through clenched teeth. "You picked the wrong mark, Kendall. I don't break the law for anybody, especially the likes of you." And he got another light bulb moment. A very bad one brought on by the likes of you comment. It hadn't been that long ago that he said those very words to her. Not in the heat of the moment like now, more like after the heat. Yeah, Kendall and he had had the hots for each other since middle school. Forbidden fruit and all that crap. Aiden had always resisted her because he'd known it would tear his family apart. Until 3 months ago. He'd had to kill a man that day. A domestic disturbance gone wrong. Then he'd had a run-in with his mother. Then another run-in with one of Jewel's smart-mouthed daughters. To make matters worse, he dropped by the Bluebonnet for a drink or two, which had turned into 4. All right, 5. And he'd run into Kendall. Aiden hadn't asked her what kind of bad day she'd been trying to erase with those shots of high-end whiskey she was downing like water.